Hey, welcome to Nat's Yoga Challenge Day 10. Today I'm going to be talking to you guys through one of the Ashtanga Primary Series seated postures. It's called marichyasana A. There is marichyasana A, B, C and D, but A is great for a beginner and we can work our way into the next one. So come down onto your mat and I'm going to show you from a different couple of angles what marichyasana A should look like and feel like. For me, I love the seated postures. If you've never done the Ashtanga Primary Series before, you would normally do this on both sides and then jump through a vinyasa and back, and it always resets your body again. So what I would ask you to start in is a posture that's called Dandasana. This has a pose all of its own. And it's good to get used to sitting properly. A lot of us sit like this when we sit down, so yoga is really amazing for your posture, your core strength, and it just makes you more aware, I think, on your daily life, when you're driving or at work, to not slump. It's really important that we're sitting up, and Dandasana is really going to help you with that. So anytime that you come to sit down on your mat just now, you might find that your body naturally tilts back with your tailbone like this. What I want you to do is just take the fleshy part out from underneath your sit bones. So pull your butt out from underneath and make sure that you're on that kind of bony part of your bum. So you have to maybe do that a couple of times to make sure that you're there. You can definitely feel it. And I want you to just get used to engaging your legs first, almost as if you were pressing the back of the knees downwards, but not to flex them too much. You don't want to harden them. Pulling your toes then in towards your face will start to activate the front of your legs. And I want you to do is take the heels of the hands down towards the hips and just sit yourself nice and tall here, because you should feel the energy pulling in lots of different directions. You're pushing away through the heels. As always, I try and remind myself as if I had a little piece of string right from the crown of my head, just making my neck nice and long. It's really, really lovely to be here for a few breaths. Getting that nice steady, even flow with your breath. If that's something you haven't really been able to cultivate yet, I think it's quite nice to count your breath sometimes. So you could inhale for the silent count of 4, and then exhale for the silent count of 4. Because naturally your exhale will probably be a little bit longer than your inhale. Whereas what we want to do is try and keep them as even as we possibly can. So once you've taken a few breaths here, we'll come into marichyasana A. So it's a seated forward fold, and I'll show you first on the right leg. So you're going to pull your right leg up towards your right hip. So your foot isn't touching the inner thigh. You should be able to have, if you were to put your whole hand down, you should be able to fit your whole hand down onto your mat there. And I want you to pull your foot in as close to your hip as you can. And again, making sure that you're on both of those sit bones. You might need to take the flesh out from underneath your sit bones again. So this left leg, the one that's lengthened out, this is still working. It's not just kind of resting here. So you're pushing away through your heels, toes back in towards you. And what I would like you to do first is just interlace your fingers, taking your hands just underneath the knee. And I want you to get used to sitting up tall through your waist. Almost as if you can take a little bit of movement and just get some space between the rib cage. Space between the vertebrae would be really nice. Sitting yourself up nice and tall. And this is going to also help you to get a little bit of flexion here into your hips, which is really what we want to feel in this marichyasana A. So you can take a few breaths here, almost as if you were hugging your knee right in towards your chest. And if this feels like enough, you're welcome to stay here. So the benefits of this are it's really, really good for opening up the hips. It's just a really good energizing pose all around, really good for this kind of winter time of year. It does build a little bit of heat. Now if you want to come a little bit further, what you're going to do then is take your left hand onto the floor and your right hand is going to reach towards your right toes. So it might not get there, again it doesn't matter, you can reach towards the shin or the foot if you can, and you can reach, I want you to take the outside edge of your left foot, okay? So I just want you to be here for a few breaths, just gently easing yourself down a little bit further with each exhale, see how this feels. All the while keeping an eye on this right leg. Watch that it hasn't disappeared out to the side. And while you're here, I want you to get used to pressing down into the 4 corners of your feet. And almost like you were using your foot to pull your body forward. So you can see when I do that I get much more flexion in my hips, like I'm pressing my foot right down into the floor there. I should probably say this way, this might be easier. Now once you've been here for a few breaths, if you want to take it a little bit further, you can. Remember, you can pause at any stage of this pose that feels comfortable enough for you. If you're happy in this forward fold here, just try not to round into the back. I want you to think about your chest coming towards your feet, rather than the crown of the head. Think pulling the chest forwards. Really, really nice long spine. If you want to come a little bit further, let's take it a little bit further by taking the front part, the top part of your hand, onto the floor beside your right leg. And what you're going to aim to do here is work that arm all the way round until you can get hold of your left wrist. So I'll show you from this direction. So you're sitting up nice and tall. You can exhale to come forwards. Take an inhale. Exhale to wrap that arm round. And your right hand is going to be doing the wrapping. It's going to just take hold of that left wrist. Now if that is just way beyond measure, if you're nowhere near, I wasn't when I first got started, it takes time. So what I would have next to me would be maybe a scarf or a towel or anything that's got a little bit of length. A tea towel is perfect. And as you take this arm and just whip the towel around, whether you might be able to then grab the towel here, which means that you're still getting that lovely frontal kind of rotation into the shoulders, you're still getting that lift into the chest, even if you're not quite getting that bind. And what you would do then is week on week, you would just gently pull a little bit closer with the towel until eventually you get that bind, okay? So wherever you are with your bind, holding onto a scarf or a towel, or if you've got your wrist, first of all I want you to lift up through the chest. And before you're going to start to come forwards, just check in with this left shoulder. You can see that it naturally wants to kind of curl its way around, but what we want to do is get both shoulders facing forwards. So you're gently pulling round, and then with each exhale you're going to start to drop forwards, with the chin coming towards the toes. So it's in the direction of, it doesn't have to come near, but as long as that is your intention and you're breathing, then you're doing it. You're in marichyasana A. So you would come out nice and slowly just by unraveling, giving the legs a little bit of a shake out again in Dandasana. I always like to give the wrists a little bit of a shake out too, and the shoulders any way that you can, just to release, and then you would come in on the other side. So I'll show you from this direction just so you know what it would look like. You might get a slightly different angle here. So again, I'm going to take that hand, make sure that there's enough space for my body to fit forward. And as you come forwards, actually you want the kind of the centre line, your heart line, to be going as if it was folding right over that front leg. You're not kind of leaning out to the side. The heart is going right down the centre of that leg. So we would sit here nice and tall for a little while, getting ourselves comfortable. Then when you're ready, you can take a little walk forwards. And again, you're aiming towards the outside of this right foot this time. Taking a few breaths here. Again, I think it's always nice to come in and out just to see how the spine's feeling. One side will definitely be easier than the other, I would imagine. Again, if you want to take it that little step further and work towards the bind, you can take the hand here. Now, a lot of people just wrap the arm round, but what I've found over time of teaching is a lot of people try and wrap the arm round the wrong way, you know, or their hands are going the wrong direction. So if you're practicing this, just turn your palm to face the sky, you know that it's then going in the right direction. And again, this is the arm that's going to be doing the binding. Lifting up nice and tall, the chest is going to lead the way forwards, and you're pushing right back into that heel, back into the toes. Your gaze is forward, try and keep these toes that are out in front engaged nice and gently. And coming out nice and slowly. So it's quite an advanced pose, there's lots and lots going on. As with lots of the things in the primary series, your body's almost getting taken in lots of different directions, but it's definitely one to work on, and I hope that you guys enjoy it as much as me. Have an amazing weekend, and I'll see you tomorrow.